Hello everybody, welcome to my latest video. This one is a little bit different and kind of detracts from the main theme of my channel in some regards. So as you can see on screen, this is on Marvel Rivals. I had no idea what this game was. I've always been into the Marvel universe, but this kind of bypassed me, and when it came out I was a little bit confused. So I thought I would have a bit of a read upon it, and it turns out that if you like games such as Blizzard's Overwatch, then you will probably like this game quite a lot. It is a hero-based shooter. In this regard, it's a superhero-based shooter, where you get to select some of the most iconic characters from the Marvel Cinematic and just Marvel comic universe. That realistically is the premise. I have not seen any story, just like in Overwatch. It's just a case of going into a number of PvP matches after selecting your favourite character. Now, my favourite character is Wolverine, so I guess I'm going to be selecting Wolverine. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the menu options and all of that sort of thing because, again, if you've played a hero shooter before, you kind of know what to expect. You have your normal tournament requirements, you have your store, a selection of different heroes, a season pass. You also have different cosmetics that you can get. So one that you can unlock for Wolverine, for example, is the costume he wears in Deadpool and Wolverine, the movie. Which is quite a nice addition, and if I was going to be playing enough, which I'm not sure I'll get time these days, but if I was, I would probably try and get. Now, some of them are purchased with premium currency, so you do have to be aware of that. Now, going into a match, just like in any other version of this type of game, you have to select the character you want to play as. If that character's already been picked on your team, then unfortunately it's locked out to you, so you cannot select it. But one of the differences in this game is you can actually have something called a team-up. And a team-up is you and either one or two other characters. If somebody else on the team selects a character that you can team up with, you're able to perform in-game special abilities. Now, I would advise that if you're going to try and do that in your gameplay, do it with somebody you can communicate with. Because in my game that's on screen at the moment, my team up is with the Hulk, as you see quite often in the comics. The Hulk picks up Wolverine and throws him at the enemy. We can do that in this, but there's no way to coordinate it because you have to be very close. I have to request it and the other person has to accept it before it will actually happen. That does not happen in this match, I will tell you straight away, so don't go expecting to see any of the wonderful team-up animations or abilities. Now, there's not much to really talk about in this type of game, so this video is going to be relatively short. I think the main things to talk about are the design choices that they've made, and I'm happy to say that they've made the exact correct choices in that regard. This is a comic book. It's a comic book that you are playing, and that's exactly what a Marvel game should be. I think one of the problems that we've had previously is in games like this, such as Marvel's Avengers and other games like that, is they've tried to focus too much on what you would consider modern day graphics and graphical prowess, whereas what they should have done is focused on gameplay, and they should have just made it look like a comic, because let's face it, that's what everyone wants. They want to play their comic book heroes. I think they've done a stellar job. The design choices they've made just for the characters alone are immense. Now, Logan or Wolverine looks brilliant in his leather jacket and trousers combo that you can see on the screen at the moment. The fact that you can unlock an actual Wolverine costume that he wears in one of the movies, it's still stylized, it's still in the comic book style, but it definitely does look like the one he wears in the movie, and that's just brilliant. There's obviously other ones that you can get for all of the other characters, and there are some characters that only modern day comic book readers would really truly know. So Jeff the Landshark, for example, that's obviously the comedy relief that you get in these sorts of games. I mean, it's literally a shark puppy, and it's not something that I would ever play. Let's put it that way. I'm sure he has a place in some comic somewhere, but it's something that I've never seen. We also have Penny Parker. Now, Penny Parker is Peter Parker's daughter, and from what I've read, because I've never seen her in a comic before, from what I've read, she doesn't have the same sort of abilities that Peter Parker has, but she did get a suit built by Tony Stark. So in effect, she's Spider-Girl, but because of a mech suit, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think having just a daughter clone of Spider-Man would be a little bit ludicrous. But anyway, enough on the characters themselves. Graphically, the environments are still really nice as well. They, again, look like you're in a comic book, which is exactly what they should do. And I think overall, they've made a really good job of making this hero shooter stand out as a little bit unique, which I think is really important. Now, from a gameplay perspective, even with your melee, I'm used to playing RPGs where melee buttons are mapped to things like square, mainly because I'm used to playing ARPGs and isometric ARPGs in general. That being said, in this it's mapped to R2 and still feels as intuitive as it should do in this type of game. Now, I keep saying this type of game, and I suppose I should describe what that means. Now, the essence of these games is you are facing off against another team of, I think it's 5 heroes in this particular one, or could be 6 heroes. And the idea is that you kill the enemy team and secure objectives. Now, that objective might be an area, it might be to kill a certain number of enemies in total so that you get a number of points. It might be to escort something to a certain location. There's various different tasks that you have to perform, but in general it's all about defeating the enemy one way or the other, and hopefully including stopping them by killing them. It's a premise that is throughout video games in general, but it again really does work in this particular genre. The hero shooters really started with Team Fortress. It's a game that came out on PC a long time ago and finally came to console with a bundle called the Orange Box. Now, Team Fortress was originally a mod for Half-Life, if any of you have heard of that. Hopefully most of you would, but it is now a very old game. So if you don't know what it is, it's understandable. But the hero shooter genre really came to its main, how should I say, height of fandom with Overwatch. Now, there have been others since. There's been Paragon, there's been loads of different versions of it. I mean, Paragon was actually a bit of a mashup. It was a MOBA stroke hero shooter. But there have been others. But Overwatch is definitely the most famous of them, I believe. Overwatch 2 was kind of a bit of a weird situation where it was more Overwatch 1.5, and I think people were more of the opinion that they should have just added to the original Overwatch rather than made a new game. But I honestly do think that Marvel Rivals does something a little bit different in as far as you're using really well-known characters, and the fact that they are comic book inspired artwork is also just amazing. Now, as I said, this video is not going to be hugely long. I'm not going to go into all of the nuances of the genre. I'm not going to go into all of the different menu choices or anything like that. But I wanted to show you some of the gameplay. Now, I've got to admit, I'm not the best at this type of game. I've never been very good at PvP, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I would say that I'm probably not showcasing this game as well as I could. I have only showed you Wolverine. I could have done some additional gameplay of other characters, and I may do in future. But suffice to say that if you like hero shooters, you are definitely not going to be disappointed with this game, and I would advise anyone who does like this genre, or just Marvel in general, to give it a try. Well, I'm going to leave the video there. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please make sure you click the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you for my next video very soon. You all take care. Bye for now.